Good morning, students of class 9th, my dear viewers and respected colleagues. So, let me recapitulate you people. We are talking about chapter number 3rd, electoral politics, and when the electoral politics, the electoral politics, the last subtopic which I have chosen for you people. That's the what makes the elections in India democratic. So what are the different provisions that makes the elections of India democratic, where we do have the absolute right to claim, at mostly we can claim the elections in India, they are conducted in a free and fair atmosphere, there is no rigging, the elections are not biased, that they are fair, they are transparent, there is a apparent accountability. So what makes this elections now democratic? And within my first talk I was talking to you that we do have this independent election commission. So that's the best constitutional designing, where we do have this independent election commission as a body, and we can say that it is the one prerequisite benchmark that defines the nature of the Indian elections, that they are democratic in nature. The second point was this popular participation. What I am saying to you about popular participation of this voters. What we can simply say the popular participation. I mean to say you people that this, when we measure the high turnout in figures, then we can say it's the most popular participation of the voters, whether they are male or they are female. So dear students, then I was talking to you why the ratio of the India is higher than the Americans and the other countries of the world, like we call it Hispanics, Spanish people. There were certain causes, because the population of India is their poor population. They have only pinned their faith among the elections that only the stats of the people of India can be enhanced and emancipated. The only way, that's the political participation. When they are taking the mass political participation, when they take the popular participation among the elections of the country, then we can witness the dramatic change in the progress of the country. I have made the arc there where I was trying to define you people that if you are making the graphically, I was trying to show you that there are the people, almost 67% of the people who are saying that it lets effect, that popular participation has less effect, or 15% of the people says that it has the least effect, and the 18% of the people, they were saying that we don't know what is the effect of this casting the votes. But the majority of the people are of the opinion that by taking the popular participation in the country, it brings prosperity. It is a healthy sign of the country, which we can claim that it's a democratic in nature, and it's a indication that Indian elections, they are democratic in nature. So electoral politics, one of the prerequisite element for claiming that India is a mature democracy, and these two steps which I have discussed till now with you people, the popular participation plus this independent election commission body, these are the indicators of this thing, that the elections conducted in India, they are not dominated by one hand, but they are democratic in nature. Now dear students, the third step that proves that whether the elections in India are fair, they are democratic in nature, that is the third one. The third point that I am going to discuss with you people today, that's the acceptance of elections results, the outcome of the elections, the acceptance of the election outcome. So how much we are accepting the outcomes of the elections? Do we accept it or do we deny it? Do we refute it or do we admit it? Let's do it. One final test. It's one of the final tests of the free and the fairness of the elections, that has in the outcome of itself. If elections are not free or fair, the outcomes always favor the powerful. Dear students, when we say that when elections are not free and fair, it indicates only one thing, that it helps the powerful person, the powerful incumbent person who's on the chair. It helps every time to them. But that's not the case what we witness in India. That is that the powerful is often defeated, they're tossed, they're kicked back, they are shown their back doors, that new seats, new faces emerge there. In such a situation, the ruling parties do not lose elections. If you are saying that this elections are not free, they are not fair, it indicates that the ruling party will never lose the elections. But what I was saying to you, that the ruling party often lose the elections in India. This is the best indicator of this thing. It's the best indication of this thing. It's the testimony of this fact that when the ruling party is losing the elections, when the ruling party is day by day losing its elections, it indicates that the common man is coming on the table. The new face is coming on the chair. It indicates only one thing, that we are accepting the outcomes, that the elections are not rigged, they are not biased, they are not fraud, they are transparent, they are accountable. That's why we have witnessed the new faces, new men on the chair. The outcome of India's elections speaks for itself. So we admit it, we accept it, that the people of India believes, the lovers of democracy, they believe of this thing, that the way we have witnessed the long chain of these outcomes from Indian elections. The first thing is that the ruling party routinely lose elections, but I was saying to you, and both the national as well as the state elections. The students, if we are just trying to bring the comparison and just trying to read the pages from last 25 years of the electoral politics, we witness the ruling parties often they lose the elections. When we are saying that from the last 25 years that the ruling party is losing the elections, it indicates one thing, that when we say from the last 25 years the ruling party is losing the elections, it indicates one thing, that there's a momentum, there's a shift, that the people who is influential, the rich at the chair, the ruling party at the chair, it indicates that the common people is given entry. The ruling party, who is at the national level, but we have witnessed that some state parties, they are making the entry at the central level, and we have witnessed the coalition government there as well. So from last 25 years, a dramatic change, a dramatic shift. That's the testimony of this fact, that we are accepting, we are admitting the elections outcome of the country. Now going ahead, dear students, if we talk about the United States of America, the incumbent or a sitting elected representative, if you talk about the United States, the incumbent or the sitting elected representatives, they largely lose an election, but in comparison to the India, about half of the sitting MPs or MLAs, they lose elections. Dear students, if we talk about the Indian MPs, sitting MPs or MLAs, the half of the, as per the census I am saying to you, as per the calculation I am speaking to you, that the half of the people who are the sitting MPs and MLAs within the Indian elections, they lose elections within the coming elections. But if we talk about the incumbent or the sitting MLAs or elected representatives, they rarely lose elections in the United States of America. So when we talk about in India, they lose elections. It indicates that the new one is coming to the chair. It's one healthy sign of this thing, that the elections are democratic and we are providing a chance to someone else to come on the chair. Point number third, that's candidates who are known to have spent a lot of money on buying the votes, and those with known criminal connections often lose the elections. So dear students, when we talk about those people who are just trying to make it a business and they just try to buy the votes, they pay a lot of money to the voters and they buy the votes, it indicates that their involvement among the criminal case as well. And the moment this thing comes into the limelight of the common public, one thing is very quite often, dear students, that they are shown the back door entry next time. They are kicked out. They are kicked out from the parliament or from the state legislature. That's why the people often they lose the next coming elections when the recall of those very persons comes into the on the table of the people. So they discuss things, they read, they analyze the progress, ideology, the mindset, the development, the thought, philosophy of that very person, if he's coming to the chair, what he's doing for the we people, the common people are witnessing. It is an indication of one thing, that the voters in India, they are not the healthy voters. They are not those people who can cast vote only to them, who is showing them the rosy pictures, who is giving them the colorful voice and the thoughts. The people are not so immature. That's the what I can say, that the healthy side of the mature democracy of the country. And the next point is that is, barring very few disputed elections, the electoral outcomes are usually accepted as a people's verdict by the defeated party. So if we talk about this, the defeated parties, the parties who lose elections within the fray, they accept it that it was a people's verdict. It was the verdict of the common people. They say that it was the people's verdict. The people's claim that it's the losing end every time claims that it was the people's verdict, that it's the will of the people, and we are accepting from the inner core of our heart the verdict that the people have announced. So dear students, these were 2-3 points which were just I am referring to you people, that how this acceptance of the elections outcome becomes one of the measuring rod to say that it's the best indicator to say the Indian elections are democratic in nature, that the elections conducted in India, they are democratic in nature, and its facts, elections are conducted freely in a fair and accountable atmosphere. So the 3 points I am once again recapitulating, rebrushing to you what I was discussing to you people. That's independent election commission. Second is the most popular participation of the people, huge participation of the common mass among the elections, what I was referring to you, man. And the last one, that was the acceptance of this elections outcome, where we can accept the elections, what was the results of the elections, what I was discussing to you, how we accept it, that the defeating parties, the constant momentum among the losing and the winning end. That's the best sign of this thing, that this Indian elections are the democratic in nature. So within the coming lecture, we are going to cover up the last subtopic of this electoral politics, that is the challenge to the free and fair elections. What are the different challenges, what are the different question marks, what are the different impediments, what are the different stumbling blocks on the way, where we can say that we can conduct the free and fair elections, but there are certain restrictions, there are certain impediments on the way to conduct it smoothly. So inshallah, within the coming days, on I think on the Friday the session, I am going to cover up this same subtopic by which I can complete your third chapter. Till then, be glued to the books, don't lose hope, be contented, take care, and all the best.